Welcome to Customer Service Academy Radio with author and customer experience expert Tony Johnson. Tony will share his vision for successful customer service, leadership, and business excellence, and speak to some of the most impactful leaders in business today. And now, here's Tony Johnson.
Hello, everybody. Customer Service Academy is on the air. I'm Tony Johnson, your customer experience consultant, speaker, and trainer. Today's episode coming to you courtesy of Ignite Your Service Training and Consulting and 4XI Global Consulting and Solutions. Truly better together. Folks, as I'm recording this, we are looking right down the nose of Thanksgiving week. I am so excited. It's just a few days before Turkey Day as I'm recording this episode, and I am very excited. I have been on the road nonstop almost all year long, and I'm really looking forward to taking a break. I hope you are too. I hope you're going to get a chance to unwind, to take a breath, to catch up for a second. And that is why I want to give the most amazing shout out to all the folks who are going to be working through this Thanksgiving weekend. So think about it. While everyone else is kind of playing and relaxing, there are a lot of people out there who are going to be working. So, the Transportation Safety Board has said this is going to be one of the biggest Thanksgiving travel weekends, in the last few years. I know they say that every year, but it's supposed to be enormous. So first of all, thank you to TSA. Thank you to the airline folks. Thank you to the folks who run the airline lounges. You're doing a great job. You are going to be so busy over the next few days. So many, many thanks to everyone out there who's getting it done. As I've said many times, I came up through the restaurant business. My first job as a customer experience officer was for a large Fortune 500 global food and facilities business. So food and beverage and hospitality, really, really near and dear to my heart. And so thank you to all the catering companies, all the restaurant groups, all the restaurants that are open in the airports and that kind of thing, all the hotel folks who are still working, the folks over at Disneyland and Universal and Legoland and SeaWorld and the like, all the theme parks that are open for folks to go have a really good time on Thanksgiving. Thank you very much for what you do and allowing all of us to enjoy. Thank you to everybody who is going to be working on Black Friday, because it is going to be, I think, a gangbuster sales year. So please, be sure that you're kind to those folks. It's going to be busy out there. I know, it's more like Black Friday week as opposed to Black Friday day, but really just a great chance for folks to get out there and find those great deals and just enjoy a little bit of time off. And thanks to all the folks who allow us to get that done. And speaking of Black Friday, folks, if you could head on over to Amazon.com and check out, I've got two books that I want to talk to you about. First one is a brand new book, Proof Positive. It is a curated cocktail collection. It's something that I did from my hospitality background. I'm hoping you'll head out and take a look at it. It is Proof Positive by Tony Johnson. You can get it on hardback or you can get it on ebook right now, but it is a curated cocktail collection, perfect for entertaining. Hope you'll check that out. Also, check out my book, Together We Serve by Tony Johnson. You can get that on Amazon.com. Comes on ebook, audio, and paperback. So quick story is, as we kick off here today, I was over at the doctor today. I was getting a little bit of blood work done. As you know, last year I had that big surgery scare, so I was over there for kind of my 1 year plus checkup. And while I was checking out, there was a fella in the line next to me having an absolute fit about something. I couldn't hear all the particulars. It's by design that you can't hear anything. But boy, he was throwing a fit. And I would tell you, when he left, the person behind the counter just was fit to be tied, just almost in tears, very angry, very upset. And it did not appear that interaction went very well. So it hit me as I was listening to that we should make sure that our team is always prepared to handle difficult customers, difficult situations, and to do so with empathy and to do so with a little bit of imagination and a little bit of kindness, to expect the best from people, to assume the best of people, that they're just maybe a nice person having a bad day, and find ways to help, but to always lead with empathy, to lead from their point of view. Now you don't have to be a doormat to folks, but understanding that sometimes nice people have bad days, and finding a way to really help them through it with kindness and empathy and just, really thinking about what you can do to make their day better is the best way to go. And again, never assume anyone sets out to be a jerk. Just assume, again, nice person having a bad day, and just make sure you're equipping your team with the skills to take care of customers that are, to put it politely, a little bit challenging. Now, as we come into Thanksgiving, I thought, what a great week to think about gratitude, because it is a great time to reflect, to reset, to focus. And really think about where you want to go to finish the year, right? The year, I get it, is almost over. Thanksgiving's late this year. By the time you're listening to this, it may also be in December, and you may just be looking right down the nose of the end of the year. But think about how you're going to finish that strong. With the few weeks that we have left, how are you going to finish that strong? And then more to the point, what is your big plan for 2025? If you haven't started yet, you're coming up to almost too late, but you're not quite there yet. So start to think about that and really get something in place about how you want to really attack Q1, because if you haven't, you cannot hit the new year flat-footed, right? You can't have that last bourbon of 2024. You can't have the first champagne of 2025 and then just assume everything's going to fall into place. It doesn't work that way. It would be great if it did, but it doesn't. So really be thinking about how are you going to reground yourself? How are you going to refocus? Maybe you had a great year. Maybe you had a terrible year. How do you keep that success going, or how do you turn things around? That's really the important thing you need to be consider. And think about reflecting about those wins and those lessons learned, because you don't win all the time. And I will tell you, the best leaders, they don't crow when they win and they don't whine when they lose. They just figure out what's next and what they're going to do about it. So really thinking about analyzing what worked and what didn't, and what are those priorities coming out of the gate in the new year. It's going to be a great way to refocus your purpose, to refocus your enthusiasm, and to really think about, are there any relationships that you need to refocus on? Do you need to look at your vision and your person? Do you need to look at your vision and your mission and your purpose, all of those things? So again, focusing on the relationships, focusing on what you want to either rebuild or push forward on or build upon, and make sure that you're set to go, because again, you do not want to hit 2025 flat-footed, because there is so much upside potential in the new year. Get out there and get it. So Thanksgiving week, all about gratitude. And what a great week to really think about how you want to take gratitude to the next level. So of course you want to show that gratitude to everybody in your life, to your friends and family. You want to make sure that you're doing so with your employees and with your customers and to yourself. So, gratitude, really important thing. And it's not just one of these fluffy nice to haves. Gratitude and recognition and those kind of things really does drive this whole idea of business results. So it's a business driver. It is not a fluffy nice to have. Just remember that. So as we get into our main portion of the program today, I want to talk about this idea of gratitude. It's a perfect time during the Thanksgiving holiday to talk about gratitude. And it's not just gratitude for your customers, not just gratitude for your employees, but gratitude for your friends and family, and also some gratitude for yourself, right? Because you matter as well. So making sure that you look for all these different opportunities. And I don't want you to think that gratitude is one of these really fluffy, ethereal things with no value. It's not. Gratitude is a true business motivator. It's a true business builder, because it builds motivation, it builds engagement, it builds results. So this whole idea of showing gratitude is really, really important. And again, it's not a nice to have. It is a business driver. So I thought it might be kind of fun to think about this as generational cohorts. I've been having a lot of folks engage with me and talk about how to engage their workforce from a generational perspective. And so this is a high level, right before Thanksgiving, thought around gratitude by generation. Let's kick off on the employee side by generational cohort. And let's start with the baby boomers, born from 1946 through 1964. Acknowledging their legacy and their dedication is huge. So this cohort, they value that public recognition. They value the fact also that folks notice long-term loyalty and the institutional knowledge that they bring, because in some cases, this may be the last generation that made it the 25 or 30 or 40 years and got the gold watch and all of that. This is kind of the last generation for that. So making sure that you're honoring them with those career milestones and making sure that you show your appreciation for their longevity and their dedication. They also really love having opportunities to mentor or share their expertise. So they see that as a form of recognition. They appreciate being included where they get to pass on their wisdom to a younger generation. So if they were allowed to participate or even lead a mentorship program where they guide less seasoned employees or team members, that'd be something to be right up their alley. They also love personalized and thoughtful gestures. So they respond well to these traditional heartfelt gestures that acknowledge their individual contributions. So that's really important. So that handwritten note from a leader and detailing their impact specifically and how they had that impact, super important. Now let's move into the Generation Xers, 1965 through 1980. And by the way, my generation. Practical rewards and that work-life balance, this really was sort of that generation that started thinking about that in terms of work-life balance. And remember, we're talking about the first generation of latchkey kids here. So they value that gratitude that's expressed through sort of a tangible benefit that aligns with their focus on efficiency and family. Because remember, they felt sort of neglected as kids, so they kind of doubled down on trying to be a better, leader inside of their family and try to spend more time with their kids. That was their thing. So they appreciate that. They also really appreciate clear and honest communication. So they want straightforward stuff. They don't need these big grandiose things that have no meaning. They want it to be authentic because they can sniff out inauthenticity from a mile away, and making sure that the recognition is very direct and very straightforward. So a candid thank you during a meeting and a very specific outlay of how they had impact and how they contributed. They love that stuff. And then really investing in their career growth. So they really love it when you tie their professional development into the recognition. And so sending them to a workshop, sending them off to have a session outside of work. And so like for me, this really rings home because I can remember how great I felt when my leaders sponsored me down to the Disney Institute for the very first time, like a million years ago. But the first time I got to go down to Orlando and experience that, I live right around the corner now. But before, when I could fly down and do that, it was a really thoughtful way for them to say thank you for all of my hard work. So next we got the millennials, born from 1981 through 1996. They like frequent recognition. They thrive on that regular feedback and being acknowledged for their efforts in real time, and I mean in real time. So if they get that shout out or kudos right away on like a Slack or a Microsoft Teams, like right when it happens, instantaneous and kind of to the universe, really, really goes well with them. Opportunities to collaborate. So they like gratitude that ties them into more meaningful work. So it's like, hey, you did a really great job at this. We're gonna have you be a part of this, and it's a chance to really show your chops and do meaningful work with an impact. So giving them a high visibility project that either aligns with company values or is tied into sustainability or community outreach. But also be aware with this, they're also very, very sensitive to workload. So if you just keep adding things on, it becomes less about a thank you and more about you just trying to throw more work on them. So it is a balancing act there. And then this idea of team-centric celebrations is really important. So they really do love, this generational cohort likes a collective acknowledgement over individual rewards. Now they do like the individual stuff too, but they like to foster camaraderie and that sense of community and that the team did it. So that's kind of a big deal for them. Getting into Gen Z, 1997 to 2012. So they like that social and digital recognition. They like the acknowledgement in public. Social media recognition would be great. Shout out to the employee of the month right there on LinkedIn or Instagram or TikTok, and places where folks can collaborate, they can share it, they can like it, they can comment on it. So even if it's internal social media, if you happen to have one of those internal Microsoft or Google social media pieces that kind of functions like an intranet, they love that stuff too, because again, it is an opportunity for folks to socially comment, for folks to socially share and that kind of thing. Or if you're using a reward system internally from a third party, sometimes you can set that up to have commenting and liking, and people can throw memes on them and things like that. So it really does make it a more social aspect of recognition. So that's a big deal. They really do love gratitude that sort of brings people together and has this kind of inclusion factor to it. So gratitude tied to inclusivity, huge with this cohort. And then finally, gamified rewards and personalized feedback. So this ties back to what I was talking about before with this whole idea of maybe that third-party recognition app that maybe you build in, and it's a great chance for folks to maybe build up points so that they can save up for something, or they can buy something immediately, or maybe it's something just as simple as an employee drawing where people can put their thank you cards in and they can decide when they put them in and how many for a drawing every month. But again, it's this whole idea of gamifying the rewards and recognition. So people love that. And again, this whole idea of earning points for contribution and redeeming them for perks or prizes or something like that, that really hits hard here. And then they haven't hit the workforce yet. But if we theorized Generation Alpha, Gen A, coming in at 2013, and they say they're going to end this cohort in 2025, but I'll believe it when I see it. Remember that real-time digital feedback could be important because these folks are digital natives like the two generations before. This idea of gamified career growth. So how can they use workplace systems that reward skill building and achievement? And then purpose-driven recognition. So recognition that ties into doing meaningful work and broader social impact. Those could be three pieces that really hit home with them. But again, they're still sort of being baked, if you will. They're not out of high school yet. So we don't have these folks really in the workforce yet. But be thinking about them because they'll be there before you know it. These folks will be 15 in just a few years. So 15, 16, they can get their work permits. So start thinking about these folks, okay? Now let's turn it around and talk about the generations as customers, because it is a little bit different. So let's talk about how baby boomers like to be recognized as a customer. They love personalized customer service. They really do like this whole idea of valuing individuality. They may also like the more deferential pieces to service, right? They may like a title like Mr., Mrs., or Doctor, or something like that. So, just understanding they like that personalization. They may like a follow-up phone call or a personalized note after a large purchase. They love rewards that honor longevity. So think about on the employee side, they really liked it when you took a moment to value how long they had been an employee. They also like it when you remember how long they've been a customer. They find that to be a really big deal for them. And they like classic gratitude gestures. So they respond really well to traditional things like the handwritten note. They really love the fact that you would thank them in a store. That's really important to them. So this classic gratitude, really important to this generation. So let's talk about Gen X. They are really looking for acts of gratitude that will save them time. So that could be free expedited shipping as a token of appreciation, but anything that saves them some time, because they are the time-saving generation. So time-saving perks they absolutely love. They also love exclusive offers. So inviting them to an early access sale or a VIP event, something that not everybody can get, they would see that as a really big deal. So my family, we have the Chase Disney card. And one of the things that we love about that as a token of gratitude or appreciation, when we go over to the park, sometimes they have little rest areas set up behind the scenes. The only people who can go in there are people that have the Chase Disney card. And so that's sort of a cool way to say thank you for being a member, because we have these sort of exclusive experience for you. It's really kind of cool. They used to also have exclusive character greetings at the parks for Disney card holders. So that was another cool thing they used to do. So that kind of stuff really goes a long way. And then finally, a tangible, practical benefit. So stuff that really has value is really effective with Gen X because they're very pragmatic. So offering a significant discount, or for me, even coming back to the benefit of having a special rest area or a special character greeting. Again, another way to say thank you. So these sort of tangible benefits that bring value, that have a little bit of exclusivity, that save time, great way to say thank you to Gen X. When you think about the millennials, they really want to see gratitude delivered through innovative and interactive digital channels, for sure. They like the personalized thank you email with a coupon code for the next purchase. That kind of thing goes a long way. They love it when they can find ways to take their perks and apply them socially. So for example, some hotels and some airlines will like to donate those miles or those points to folks who are less fortunate or service members, things like that. Great way to really entice this generation. And then finally, this idea of exclusive shareable experiences. So gratitude that they can share. So an example of that are airlines at the end of the year sometimes will send out a little thank you video. It'll be personalized, it has my name on it. It talks about all the places that I went, how many miles I flew, what status I have, thanking me for my business, and kind of wishing me a great year and what am I going to do next year. But it's sort of a status symbol for some folks. They made executive platinum and they visited 50 countries or whatever that something is this year. And that's something they can take and not only say, oh, that was nice that they thanked me, but they could share it out as well. So Gen Z, think about the gamified reward systems. Much as the employees from the Gen Z side love gamification, they also like gratitude that shows points or badges, that kind of thing, that can be redeemed for free travel or free hotel nights or free car rentals. But also they have a badge that they made a certain level and they get a badge or something they can assign to them. That is a really big deal. And the fact that these things can be redeemed for discounts or free nights, that kind of stuff, that really resonates. They do appreciate this idea of authenticity as well. So brands that express genuine appreciation and that really align with their values. Finally, social media engagement. This cohort really loves gratitude expressed in the digital spaces. So an example might be a personalized Instagram story thanking them for their support or business, that kind of thing. And then again, they are not a huge part yet, but they are influencing in a huge way purchases. Talk about Gen Alpha for a second, or Gen A. They like this idea of interactivity and playful gratitude. So thank yous that are a part of a game or a fun activity. This idea of tech integrated gratitude. So the thank yous are coming as a part of an app driven experience or inside of a digital area. They really like that. So integrating gratitude into the technology. And then they also love this idea of social and environmental impact. So having the opportunity to donate their points or their miles to something that might be a carbon offset or something like that. Most of the later generations, millennials, Gen Z, and Gen Alpha, all love this idea of being able to donate back to real causes, and in particular ones that maybe have a sustainability impact. Again, like offsetting the carbon footprint or something like that, being able to donate miles to those causes, really, really important. And then finally, thinking about one more thing that rings true through those last three generations, the millennials, Zs, and alphas, they really appreciate it when they have a voice. So when brands listen to them, when they understand them, and more importantly, take action on what they say, that is really important, because this whole idea of having a voice and being heard and listened to, really important for those generations. Not that every generation doesn't appreciate that, but when they know that somebody took their idea and actually put it into action, that really feels good to them. So just understanding that is really going to help your business thrive with the generations. So really thinking about this, if you tailor your gratitude to your generational preferences, it can really boost employee and customer retention and loyalty. Because again, that's what empathy is. Empathy is understanding who's in front of you and treating them the way they'd like to be treated. So it's a really important way to show that you get it and that you value them as either employees or customers, or probably both. So folks, that is our show. Remember, we are still in the middle of the Great Service Comeback, even here in the middle of the Thanksgiving and holiday season. In fact, probably very importantly because of those pieces, this is the time when we can all double down and really get through this kind of Black Friday through the end of the year, crush the final month of the year, and start the next year very, very strong. And again, if you head on over to Amazon.com and check out my book, Together We Serve by Tony Johnson, great way to really put business results front and center in your daily thinking and strategy as you go into 2025. So folks, until next time, I've been Tony Johnson, your customer experience trainer, consultant, and speaker, reminding you to keep your customers and your employees the center of everything you do, because that's where the most amazing things are possible. Thanks again for listening. Happy Thanksgiving, and I'll talk to you next week.
This has been Customer Service Academy Radio with Tony Johnson. Tony is available to speak at your event, meeting, or workshop. Have a powerful customer-focused day.